Hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening in another episode of Quantum GK. Believe it or not, we're turning 1 year old. Actually, tomorrow. Our first telecast was September 10th, 2020, and so we're almost 1 year. We're celebrating the eve of Quantum GK's first anniversary. And this evening, we prepared a jam-packed, um, jam-packed, exciting, things for you. And you probably noticed too that last week we did not have a a live program on Gawad Kalinga USA's Facebook page. That is because with the 1 year anniversary of Quantum GK, we are now transitioning into a monthly live program. And so why monthly and why are we switching to monthly? We figured that we really, with the 12 months or 52 weeks that we've been doing this program, there was just so many things, so many exciting stories that we featured, and it was more like a casual, conversation. So the casual conversation is not really going away, but we want to offer you even more exciting updates from Gawad Kalinga on the ground, right? Some maybe exciting topics to talk about and some exciting people who will be joining me. So hindi na po ako mag-iisa na mag-host. I'm not the only host starting tonight. And so with that, let me share with you how Gawad Kalinga Quantum Chigi has been in the past 12 months and what people thought about it and what people thought about Gawad Kalinga. All right.
Growing up, I always thought I was so Filipino, but it wasn't until high school that I realized that there was something missing.
Why is it like this? Why was I born into this family? And why was she or he, a kid who's my age who looks just like me? Why is that their life? So then I was 4 and 5 asking these kinds of questions, and then it kind of turned into not just why is it like this, but also what can I do to help?
So we should pay back and help others as well.
The mantra of what we kept on talking about was that we kind of want to go back and keep on helping. We enjoyed that experience. We always talked about how fun that was.
If you really wanted to help them, you don't lower standards for them. Instead, you let them aspire for higher goals in life. Create an enabling environment for them.
Personally, what keeps me going, parang even though we can do as much, but we were able to do small things for this number of people.
I find it super gratifying to help others, especially in community service, and I think I use it more as a outlet, as a kind of form of therapy, to not always focus on the tangible. Education obviously is important, but being able to help others, I think, is what really is the end goal for me. Being able to make change, true lasting change in people's lives. And I think that's why GK is so special to me as an organization, and all the other organizations that I'm a part of, but especially GK, for me especially deals with youth engagement and kids.
This is my calling as a Filipino, to be the brother's keeper of the many Filipino youth as well.
And so GK brings out that particular spirit very strongly. Solidarity, working together, and really thinking for the future.
I feel like with GK, there's just so much that they do. I would really encourage to find what sparks your activism, your joy.
I know the kind of impact that GK has on the community, not just on the homeless. Really, this is Filipino-made. Kumbaga, it was built by the Filipinos for the Filipinos.
Ayan. So there you go. Those were some of the guests that,
Growing up,
Oh,
I
don't know
always
why
thought
that's
I was
coming
so
through.
like
Hold on one
Filipino,
second.
but like
Please.
it wasn't until high school that I realized that there was something missing. Why is it like this? Why was I born into this family?
I'm sorry for.
And why was she or he, a kid who's my age?
Ayan, I'm so sorry about that, you guys. All right, well, I'm back. So those were the guests that we had, some of the guests that we had in the past 12 months, and they were all really talking about the impact of Gawad Kalinga in their own personal lives, and also the impact of Gawad Kalinga that they saw on people's lives. How they are really how the work of Gawad Kalinga is really making a big difference in the lives of the poor in the Philippines. And so everyone's just really sharing how excited they are, how inspired they are to be a part of the work of Gawad Kalinga. And those stories are really what we feature here on Kwentong GK. All right. So with that, you probably saw a familiar face. So for those of you who have been, constantly watching us here on Kwentong GK, you probably saw a familiar face. One of the co-hosts I have this evening. Yes, I have co-hosts now. One of the co-hosts we have this evening is Mr. Everett Ikaw. All right, are you there, Everett?
Hello, Ate Donna. Hello, GK family. I'm so happy to be here.
We're so happy to have you. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to have someone here with me already. Right? Sometimes it's nerve-wracking to just to interview people and like do one-on-one interviews, and sometimes I feel like I'm running out of questions to ask, or like how can I get this person to talk a little bit more. So now I don't have to worry about that, because now I have you and we have one other person. So please welcome Miss Jean Gavina. Yay! All right, are you there? Oh, there. Okay. Oh, awesome. You're on mute, darling. Yeah.
It wouldn't be me if I didn't have bloopers, right? So, hello everyone. Thanks for having us, Ate Dana. Really, really glad to be a part of this this first episode as we kick off Kwentong GK, the next gen.
We're happy to have you. I'm sure, of course, Everett is happy to have you as well. And this wouldn't be the first time for you to co-host, right? You're part of was it Chicago? What is it now? Chicago
Film Duo.
Right. So just so people would know what that is, would know a little bit more about you. I know, we've had you on Kwentong GK, separately, and you talked about your passions and interests and everything. I'm not sure if either of you mentioned Chicago Film Duo, though. I don't remember, and I have very good memory.
I don't think we did. I don't, but
no, we didn't.
Well, now you know, everyone.
Yes.
But the Chicago Film Duo.
Well, what is it exactly? What is Chicago Film Duo?
Well, that's a great. Actually, that's really interesting. We've never been asked that. I guess I can start. Chicago Film Duo, we kind of cultivated and nurtured during the pandemic, really the height of the pandemic. During the last year in 2020, it really was just really hard to stay connected physically. And so obviously, globally, people had to learn and find ways to connect and really being online. And so when there was an opportunity for Jean and I, who was just, trying to give back and work with the local communities in Chicago, such as GK, we thought that, spreading a little bit of laughter and fun, because we kind of get a little crazy sometimes.
Just a little.
Yeah, to give back to the community and to kind of highlight the good things, even though at that time, it was kind of hard to find the silver lining and all the things going on. So
yeah, Everett said it pretty well. It was just something where we connected pretty well when we met in I think 2018 or 2019, and because of our love of giving back to the community and us really wanting to make an impact, we decided, just because we connected well, to really kind of create this Chicago Film Duo and kind of share our story of giving back.
Awesome. And the Chicago Filipino community is so blessed I know you're both very active, not only in Gawad Kalinga, but also in other organizations, Filipino associations here. And just to be clear, for those of you who are watching us, you do not have to come from Chicago to Kwentong GK.
True.
We're not trying to dominate.
Join us in the journey, everybody.
Exactly. They just, they happen to be available, and of course they're great hosts, and that's why they are on board. So now with that, I wanted to share with you, I know we're all, we've been supporting the work of Gawad Kalinga, for a couple of years for you guys. Obviously, you're one of the younger people in the work. I've been with Gawad Kalinga since 2003. So that just dated me, didn't it? But, I know that there's one thing common among three of us. Of all of the many programs that Gawad Kalinga has, there's one program that is, the programs, I should say, it's the only program, but one of the programs that is really close to our hearts, Kusina ng Kalinga, right? And so I wanted to share a video. It's a 7-minute video, explaining what Kusina ng Kalinga is, and what Gawad Kalinga is doing, to help children, get to alleviate hunger, Yeah. All right, so let's see here. I hope I don't mess up the sharing again. Let me see.
We got you. We're here for you.
Yes.
Sorry about that. All right. Can you guys see my screen? Want to make sure.
You can.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. So let's do this.
Sakit ba ya kay nang naagbo ko yung mga anak niya kana bitong na ako lulisod ba ya kay nang kami og ganikanan okay ra pero mga anak lisod ba ya nga dili bitaw ka nang makakaon bitaw. Ito makabuko kong anak niya akong bana bali pagyod. Dili man siya katrabaho. Muna kami karon nagkuyog-kuyog na lang mi kung asa may makapamagol. Karon nang makakaon mi.
May mga bata din na problema. Hindi lamang nila masabi sa guro. Malaman mo lamang kung magreklamo na sila. Kung sumakit ang tiyan nila, yun namin malalaman na wala pala silang kain na pumunta dito sa eskwelahan.
So many poor people go hungry on a regular basis. We cannot end poverty without confronting hunger. The poor endure hunger on a regular basis, but its most devastating effects are experienced by the children. Hunger is most cruel to the young. That's why in 2014, Gawad Kalinga launched Kusina ng Kalinga as a response and as a platform to end hunger among children. Kusina ng Kalinga is made possible by the collaborative efforts of individuals and institutions to ensure that no child goes hungry under their watch. Hungry is a big monster, but bayanihan is a much, much bigger force. That's why Kusina ng Kalinga is built on the conviction that together we can end hunger. For the past 6 years, GK worked hand in hand with the Department of Education and various local government units, and together we have established a vast network of 160 kitchens nationwide that can prepare up to 100,000 meals every day. This model is simple. A kitchen is established in a school or community that has access to basic ingredients and supplies. The local government unit provides the regular workforce, and DepEd and private donors provide the meals. But all of this is kept together by a dedicated team of volunteers and workers who wake up at 4 a.m. every day to prepare and distribute thousands of meals. Their caring and sharing is the secret ingredient of KBK.
Yung mga ingredients po na linuluto namin, na galing po sa local. So dito sa Sambuan, dito rin kami bibili ng karne, ng bigas, ng mga gulay na gagamitin namin.
Sa akong
anak 5 ang nakadawat sa feeding program. Dako jud kay natabang ang kuan gawad kalinga kusina. Kay nang excited na kay sila nga mo eskwela. Malipayon ko nga nakatabang ni volunteer ko dire sa San Sebastian, nakatabang ko sa mga kabataan. Kay sama na ko nga ginikanan daghan ng dili ra kay ako ray kabos, daghan yung mga kabos.
We have also provided thousands of meals in every major disaster since 2014, beginning with Super Typhoon Yolanda and other typhoons, the eruptions of Mayon and Taal volcanoes, the earthquake in Makilala, and in the siege of Marawi.
Siyempre, nag-adjust pa sila. Yung iba, di pa nakalimutan yung panahon ng giyera dito sa Marawi. Yung mga ibang bata naging nagkakapubya na.
Gumpisa po ang kusina ng Kalinga dito sa Marawi in partnership with DepEd, ARMM pa before. Actually, a month after yun ng Marawi siege. Nagpakain kami ng 1,000 bata noon. And then, January of 2018, na-launch na din po yung kitchen natin dito na mismo sa Marawi.
First time kasi na mangyari dito sa school namin na may pagkain na dinadala. So ang mga bata masaya. Araw-araw pumunta sila sa school kasi alam nila na may feeding na darating.
Last year, ang pupils ko lang, ang learners ko lang dito ay 268. Ngayon, may learners na akong 372. So isang dahilan ay itong feeding program na bigay sa amin ng kusina ng Kalinga.
Yung mga schools kasi na hinahatidan nila ng pagkain, outside na siya mismo ng center ng Marawi. Sa paghahatid nila, inaabot sila ng mga 2 to 3 hours.
Grade 1 lang. Toyo lang yung ulam ko. Sila marami pang marating pa sa kanila na mag-aral. Ako hindi ko natapos na. Natin daw para sa di nila maranasan yung buhay ko.
Nakita ko sa mga staff na hindi sila yung mga professional or whatsoever, pero nakita nila na pwede din pala silang tumulong.
Nakakatulong ito talaga as process of healing sa mga bata kasi yung excitement mo ng mga bata, nakikita ko talaga na they are excited pag kumukuha sila ng pagkain.
Self-rated hunger has averaged 10% for the past 20 years, which affects roughly around 2.1 million families annually. But as of May 2020, this number has gone up to 4.2 million families due to the effects of the pandemic. Hunger became bigger and its grip became tighter. We are thus called to bring our bayanihan and heroism to a whole new level. Now more than ever, we must work together to make sure that no one gets left behind in this pandemic. Millions of kids will be studying from their homes and communities this year. In these unprecedented and uncertain times, we need to make sure that they get all the help we can give. That is why for this year, Kusina ng Kalinga will go to where the kids are. Gawad Kalinga will establish kitchens in the communities to provide at least one nutritious meal a day for kids aged 1 to 12 years old for at least 120 days. Help us bring food to those who need it the most in this time of pandemic. Join us in our battle against hunger and poverty. We should be able to tell ourselves that no child went hungry under our watch. Hunger ends where caring begins.
All right. And we're back.
So heartwarming.
Oh.
And I love it. It's from the
And
Messiah.
I don't know why is it. Okay, there's a labor sale apparently. Room place. They're not they're just so you guys know they're not a sponsor. This program. All right. Well, we're back. That's not me, right? I don't know why is it. Okay. Sorry about that. All right. I'm not going to be sharing videos anymore, just so that guys know. All right. So, okay. So when we talk about hunger, I want to, talk a little bit more about the hunger situation in the Philippines. When we say hunger in the Philippines and hunger in the US, right? They are two different things. In the US, we have food pantries. right? There are like food pantries established, like food banks who take care of the hungry, of the homeless, right? There's soup kitchens and all of that. In the Philippines, especially during the pandemic, it was even more hunger has become even more of a problem. It's that it has even been more pronounced as a problem, right, in the Philippines, because people who are not, able to work because, of the pandemic, right? They are not able to provide for their family. And so, and this is where, Kusina ng Kalinga, as a program of Gawad Kalinga, it has become even more important and critical, during this pandemic. And I know you guys have been involved in raising funds at a minimum, right, for Kusina ng Kalinga. Let's start maybe with Everett. I know you had a birthday fundraiser that benefited the children, the Kusina ng Kalinga. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, Kusina ng Kalinga is very special for me because I've being back in Philippines several times and being around that environment. I am a proud Mindanaoan. My family comes from Mindanao, and you see it firsthand, and I feel always a sense of gratitude for the hardships that people go through that I've never experienced, and I'm unfortunate enough to experience that and see the other side of the lens. And K&K, or Kusina ng Kalinga, allows us to give back. And I was during the pandemic, it was kind of hard. My birthday was just recent, the end of last year, and it was kind of hard to come together as a family and really, truly enjoy, all the gifts and the things. And there wasn't really much I was really asking for, but just somewhat of a how to give back to those who were less fortunate, especially in the Philippines. So yeah, I was able to, with the help of our GK leaders in the Philippines, I was able to give fundraise with the help of family and friends here in the U.S. and give back by providing a little bit of a party for them, a safe and healthy way for them to kind of get some food and games and treats, and it was just a lot of fun. So that was very special to me, one of the best. And the older the better, I guess, and so hopefully more to come.
I think you're talking specifically of GK Mabuhay, which is one of the I think it's a independent entity from Gawad Kalinga, but obviously the program or their business, it really is a social enterprise, right, that supports the Gawad Kalinga movement. And just for those people who may have missed that episode where we had Isa Opiñena on Kwentong GK Mabuhay was actually a volunteerism. That's I think that's what they describe their business. And basically they bring the people to Gawad Kalinga communities. Those they don't have to be foreigners, in the Philippines. They can be local in the Philippines, but if they want to visit a Gawad Kalinga community, they would bring them there and organize a tour and trip for them. However, unfortunately, GK Mabuhay is one of those social enterprises that has been affected by the pandemic, because obviously they cannot bring people to the communities. And so it was such a creative and resourceful switch for them to be hosting not only birthday, but really any special events that you can celebrate in the communities. And that's what Everett did. And that's also what I did a couple of months ago when I celebrated my birthday. And yes, it was a lot of fun. It was very meaningful and, and fun at the same time, right? How about you, Jean? I know that, you've been, you started the being involved in the health program of Gawad Kalinga.
Yes.
It is in its infancy stage, is it? Like
yes.
Right?
Still in the works.
Okay, well, can you tell us a little bit more about that for those? I know we have a lot of nurses and medical professionals, right? If you're Filipino, I don't know about you guys. When I immigrated in Chicago back in 1998, again, I'm dating myself. When they find out I'm Filipino, the immediate question after that is, oh, are you a nurse? Right? And of course I'm not, right? But there's a lot of nurses, doctors, physical therapists who can come on board, and they might be curious to know a little bit more about that program that you are, what you envision it to be.
So the way that I envisioned, really, my background is in nursing and health administration. So I really wanted to really create a program that is something that I have my background in and a skill set. And for me, it was really creating a health education program, because I feel that without health, you don't have many opportunities to be able to do the things that you want to do. The way that I really envisioned this healthcare program is really taking it as a holistic approach, your body, mind, and spirit. It's not just only about learning and understanding about the disease process, but really taking it to a different level where you're able to really, do a lot of preventative, taking a more proactive approach with your health, where you kind of take educational resources, have different types of exercise, like classes, or even cooking classes. Like those are the type of different things that I'd like to really create and evolve throughout this program. Like I said, it's really in the beginning stages. A lot of other things that I'd like to incorporate is like the importance of hand washing. That is one of the number one ways to alleviate disease, right? It's really hand washing is another one. Maternal care is another way, another item that I'd like to really kind of focus on. The importance of managing your blood pressure or your diabetes, and how it ties with like kusina ng kalinga. Nutrition is really important, right? What you feed in your body really matters, and really educating the folks and really making sure that, by partnering and collaborating with kusina ng kalinga, we can kind of create nutritious meals for the children that they need to be able to grow and develop, because without that, you're not able to move forward, right? Being malnutritioned has an impact on your life.
Mm-hmm. So is there any collaboration with Kusina ng Kalinga that you're anticipating, or is that a possibility that you might be able to do?
So like I said, it's still in the infancy phase, but definitely collaborating and partnering with Kusina ng Kalinga is definitely something we definitely wanna take, and the approach we'd like to go. Really teaching people the importance of having a balanced meal, right? If you're having too much protein, that can impact it. Too little vegetables, or having too much fat, having a lot of those things, and just having a balanced diet, and really teaching them and really creating a meal plan for the children, I feel is important. And I think having those conversations with the folks that are volunteering or who are running those kitchens is really important.
One of the guests that we had on Quentin GK was Christian Servande, and he shared how Kusina ng Kalinga came about, and and he talked about how the meals are really super healthy and nutritious, and he even advises for us to get copies of those recipes so we can incorporate them in our own diet as well. One funny story too. One of the I guess fundraising ideas that I had that never come into fruition, but I'm sharing it out in the world just in case anyone is interested, because I just have not had the willpower, I guess, to do it. Was especially in the US, right? And maybe the same is true for other first world countries, right? Progressive countries, is we just have too much food, and we have too much food wastage, right? Like we waste a lot of food, and also we eat a lot of food because it's available, right? So I'm
one of those statistics.
Oh, me too. Me too. Everett, don't even open your mouth. We're hating you right now because you're so fit and healthy. Yeah. So Gina and I are not loving you so much because of this topic. But I had this idea, like how I'd like to launch like the biggest loser is the biggest winner. So basically what it is,
Oh, that's a good one.
you know, like for every pound that I lose, like I have to lose 30 pounds, let's just say. I'm not saying that's how much I have to lose, maybe more or less, but I'm not going to tell you how much exactly. But let's just say I have to lose 30 pounds. And I say, for every pound that I lose up to 30 pounds, I will donate X amount of dollars for Gawad Kalinga or Kusina ng Kalinga. So in that way, I wouldn't be eating too much food. The food that I'm supposed to eat can now, you know, translate it into something that will help those people who are children that are really hungry, right? So that was just an idea to just make, you know, Kusina ng Kalinga a little bit, you know, fundraising for it and supporting it a little bit more fun. Again, I haven't done it. So guys, I'm throwing it out there. Or maybe you can be my cheerleaders. Maybe I can do it.
Yes.
All right. Wow. But that was, you know, that's Kusina ng Kalinga is really one of the important, all of Gawad Kalinga's programs are important, obviously, right? But Kusina ng Kalinga is a program that help children, that feed children who are hungry, and you know, and they need our help. So, and we're going to talk more about Gawad Kalinga's other programs in succeeding episodes. But at this point, we're halfway through the hour. Can you believe it? So see,
wow.
This is what happens when you have, you know, when you have co-hosts.
When you're having so much fun, right?
And you're having so much fun. What? Okay, so the next half hour, okay, I'm so excited about our first guest kicking us off in our, you know, first year anniversary. Please welcome a national artist for music, a renowned composer and conductor, and a longtime Gawad Kalinga supporter, Mr. Ryan Cayabyab, or to Mr. C, for a lot of people. Mr. C, are you on?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. You have no idea how excited I am. And that if I can charge my little technical snafus earlier to that, but I'm so excited to have you on Kwentong GK. We actually met at the Gawad Kalinga's first global summit or conference in Boston. And we were in the same house at Tita Evita Florendo's house, where you rehearsed with your singers there. So we're working sort of around the same space, but we were never really formally introduced. But I do have a picture with you, which I'm very, very excited about. But I'm pretty sure
and we will too.
Yeah, we're going to have to take a screenshot later, okay, Mr. C? All right. So, but I'm super excited because I grew up with your music. My father also was a musician, and unfortunately, he passed when I was very young. But your music, Ryan Musikahan, was a staple in my household, and that was our way of bonding, in my family. So super excited, Mr. C. That's so much the introduction, but welcome to Kwentong GK.
Welcome, Paul.
Hello, everybody. Good evening to your listeners or those who are watching right now in the US. So lovely.
All right.
Donna, sorry, I said lovely. Donna, Everett, and Jean. So
yes, Lovely is the one who's coordinating behind the scenes, who helps make this episode happens every week before when we had it every single week. But yes, so thank you. So we're just gonna go right ahead, and I know your time is so precious, and we're very blessed to have you join us in our first anniversary. So obviously, one thing you're a well-respected musician in not only in the Philippines, but in many parts of the world. And one of the major things that you're recognized for is that the fact that you're a national artist for the music, right? And pardon me, Mr. C, but some people may not know what that means, especially the Americans in the US. In the Philippines,
that's okay.
I was born and raised in the Philippines, right? But we have a lot of Phil-Ams and or Americans who may not know what that means, but it's a huge deal, right? It's a huge deal, right? And it was a national, it was called the National Artist Award, right? Before, but it was eventually changed to an order. It's actually an executive order, and it requires a presidential proclamation. And you were one, as of 2019, I don't know if there were newer, awardees, but as of 2019, you were one of the 73 artists, who were given this honor. But what does it mean to you? What does it mean to you to be a national artist for music?
I think being national artist, it's more of being able to amplify my work in education, music education, and actually more like amplifying my platform for promoting Filipino music, because that's what I've been doing in the past 10 years. It's like, on 11 years, actually, I've done camps, music camps, and we train a lot of young young songwriters to become new creative artists in the Philippines. And it's called the Elements Music Camp. And then I'm also with the Philippine Music Foundation, Popular Music Foundation, and we have an annual songwriting competition. And what's nice about it is we have been discovering a lot of very young songwriters outside of the national capital region. So it's great to discover songwriters from the Visayas area, from Mindanao, and very lately, we just launched a new songwriting competition for the North, North Luzon. So it's called Amianan Pop, because we want to encourage the young songwriters or young creative writers of the Northern Luzon. We're talking about Region 1, 2. We're talking about the Ilocanos from the Pangasinan and Cordilleras, all these regions. We're trying to drum up and tell them that please write in your language, because if they write in their language, we discover new nuances, new music, new sound. It's like you're putting together all these new phonetics, and it becomes a new sound, and it contributes to the national literature of the Philippines. So just to finish off, I also put up a competition and workshop for a cappella singing, contemporary a cappella in 2012. And we were able to produce international champions. As a matter of fact, one of our grand champions, they're called Acapelago, they became one of the top 5 a cappella acts in, I think, 2018. They were voted as one of the top 5, together with with great names in contemporary a cappella. Pentatonics, Real Group, a group in England, and a group in Australia. It's like, wow. And they were like champions in Austria for the international a cappella competition, Vocal Total. They emerged champion in Russia, also in China, Japan, and in Taiwan, in Singapore. It's like, that's all we've been trying to do. We've been trying to promote Filipino talent and Filipino music, especially creating Filipino music. So this is what we've been doing. And you asked me what being national artist, what it means to me. It means it's amplifying my work, or it's giving me a platform to voice out what we want to do and what the direction of Filipino music. That's what we wanted to do, is to break borders and break barriers also, because a lot of songwriters are a lot of Filipinos from Mindanao or from Visayas or from Bicol or from Ilocos region. They think of Manila as an imperial Manila. It's like Manila is the one who's giving out the orders because the Filipino language, which is Tagalog, has been mandated as the national language. So what we're trying to do now is telling them that your language in your region is so very important that you can contribute to the national literature, Philippine music literature. And that's what we've been trying to drum up. And maybe that's the reason why now I'm saying that being national artist has more oomph, meaning I can really say that I can say this to everybody that the Filipino creative artist. I'll tell you why. Because the Filipinos, are also known to be great singers, di ba?
Yes.
Hindi lang nurses, di ba? Gina.
Yes.
I'm not a good singer though. Everyone get kicked out of the room if I sing.
You're a great nurse though.
Yes.
So I said, well, we've been observing that since the past. You know that we've always been regarded as the Asian minstrel, because since the start of the 20th century, early 20th century, when America came and we became a colony of the U.S., and they brought with them a lot of their music, which is jazz, especially when they brought the military with them. A lot of those people also were members of the band, the military band. So they introduced a lot of jazz music, a lot of popular music early in the 20th century. But you see, the Filipinos have a knack for picking up music and playing it the same way. So, which is why we always had this reputation of very good imitators. Like we have a Filipino Elvis Presley and a Filipino Tony Bennett and a Filipino Lady Gaga. I don't know. There's none. I'm just joking. So we said that.
Have both female and male voice, diba? Si Po.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that guy won.
I've seen that.
Yeah. So that's why when we said that the Filipinos are always known for being good singers, performers, we say that we have been exporting the hardware. Well, where's the software? The software, the creative works, the songs, etc. These are the songs that. Do you know any Filipino song that's known worldwide? I guess next to Anak, none. So I what I can say probably is I'm proud because in some pockets of America, especially in college glee clubs, especially male glee clubs, they sing my song, The Coconut Nut. Can you imagine that? Like, really?
Yes.
So I'm very proud to say that we've been pushing the Filipinos to try to break barriers and break the borders internationally too, because we already told we have accepted the fact that it will not come from my generation, the breaking the borders, going international. That is why we're trying to push the young kids to start writing in their language, start writing in the style that they're familiar and they're happy with. At the same time, you cannot erase the Filipino out of them, out of those creative people, because it will always be there, no matter what you do, no matter how much they imitate or how much they try to sound not like them,
Yeah.
there's still gonna be a lot of Filipino there inside.
So, Mr. C, and I know Jean has a question here, but I wanted to, to follow that up with what you were talking about. We have a lot of singers, but I think what you're trying to say is that there might not be a lot of composers, people who create music. Is that what you see in the Philippines? Or more
No, there are a lot of composers. There are a lot of songs, and we're trying to find out what is probably that's what the workshops are all about. We're trying to teach them to open their minds and see what the world is trying to, what we can contribute to the world. It's not like we have to imitate what's happening now, because the music now is already the past music, meaning it's gone. You have to go maybe 10 steps forward, because and you have to keep on experimenting. That's what we're trying to tell them. There are a lot of songwriters, very, very creative, and we're actually pushing them.
All right. So that's definitely a great opportunity for them to come out and be part of the music landscape in the Philippines to promote our Filipino music. Jean, before you get to your question, I just want Mr. C, nagsha-shout out kami to mga who are joining us. And then maybe some of these people you've met or recognize the names. Tita Tess Castro is saying hi. Also, Christine Saplala says, happy anniversary, Quantum GK. Here's to more inspiring and hope-filled kwentuhans. Thank you so much, Christine. And then Tita Tony Pasqua from Southern California is watching. Tita Carol Tulod, puro tita, di ba? Malapit na rin ako maging tita na din ako eh. Tita Carol Tulod says, good evening from Houston, Texas, Mr. C. Glad to have you on Quantum GK. And then this is my hubby, Robbie Reyes. It's great to see you, Mr. C. He took the picture of us, Mr. C. You don't have a picture with him.
That's a great husband.
And then Maricel Villanueva, thank you, Maricel, for helping us get Mr. C as our guest for Quantum GK. He says, wow, it's clear to see why you are a national artist. All right. And then I think that's, from Marisol Balbarin, who's from Chicago, says, very true. We're the best imitators, very talented. All right. From Marilyn Bello, so good to see you, Mr. C. All right. So Jean, go ahead with your question.
Yes. So my question, with some of the things that you've talked about, and love hearing about the work that you've been doing, especially for the youth. And it's such an inspiration with a lot of the things that you've accomplished. So my question for you is, what inspired you to start playing and making music?
I don't know if it's okay. Gina was born into a very musical family. My mother was an opera singer, and I learned how to play the piano at 4 years old. But my mom died at 6, and this is the usual story I tell, that when she died, she made our dad promise that none of the children should take up music and have a music career. So,
wow.
Yeah, because, it's a long story. And my parents just survived the World War II and the devastation in Manila. So you can imagine the government had to rebuild first the country, rebuild Manila. They lived in the capital region. So music, art was not a priority. They had to build the economy, etc. So that was where my parents were coming from. So my mom was telling my dad, don't allow, although she was already she was quite known in her circles. And then she did Aida in 1957. Aida is an opera of Verdi, and she was the lead dramatic soprano. And she was on her way to becoming a, a national Navy opera diva, but she died at age 43. So you can imagine, I was 6 years old when she died. So, and then you ask me what the inspiration is. Well, I'll tell you, I grew up inside a house wherein we had 10 lady boarders. They were all students of the UP College of Music. So they were all musicians in our house. When we were small, everybody was playing or singing or doing whatever. It's like, did I have any choice? There was no escaping music. It was like,
Yes.
but I tell you, since my mom said no one will take music, I didn't take music. But when she died and we left that house, and I found a box after a few years when we transferred. I found a box. It's like a balikbayan box, and it was filled with music sheets, music scores, music pieces left behind by the boarders. Most of them were piano pieces. So, I taught myself how to reread, and practice my Bach, my Beethoven, my Mozart. I did it on my own with some help from my sister, who would tell me, "No, you're playing it fast. You should play it slower, etc., etc." And when I was in high school, I was the pianist for every Monday morning we had a flag ceremony. I don't know if you have anything like that in the States, wherein you have you do your allegiance to your flag, and then you say and then you sing the national anthem. I played the national anthem every Monday for 4 years, from first year to fourth year high school. It's like I was into music all my years. I was in the glee club. I was in the high school glee club. I was like president of the glee club. It's even in college, when I was taking up, I went to UP. My major was accounting, business administration. I still went and hang out in the UP College of Music because I like the vibes. I like the vibe. It was cacophonous because everybody was playing or singing. Rooms weren't air conditioned then, so you can imagine all the doors and all the windows are open. And when you pass by that building, it's like heavenly noise.
Yes.
It's beautiful. But so you're asking me how I was inspired. Well, all these years I've been into music, and then I met the former Senator Laurel, and because I worked with Kohay Laurel, the son, and he asked me to come to visit his office and talk to me, and said, "Why are you taking up accounting? You're talented. I can see you can play the piano well, And then he gave me these nuggets of wisdom. He said, each one of us have a place in our community. We use our talent to contribute to what we can do in our community. For example, you go to school and you notice that everything is clean. The floors are clean. The chairs are all lined up. And then the plants are lush and green. And the chalkboard is clean. Who does that work? He says, that's the work of the janitor. And if the janitor is very good, then it creates a very good atmosphere for learning. It creates a good climate for you to, you feel like you're refreshed because it's not dirty. The place is clean. Same with the laundry woman. Of course, you guys just go to the laundry in your basement or in your kitchen, and then you just plop your clothes there. But here in the Philippines, we have laundry women who do the chores of cleaning your clothes and doing ironing. And then so in 1972-3, he was telling me, So when you wake up in the morning and you wear your clothes and you go to school and you feel good because you got nice smelling clothes and you got well pressed shirts, etc. Who gives you that? Who gives you that confidence to go about your day? That's the laundry woman, also the person who ironed your clothes. So he was just giving me a picture of a bigger picture. I was 18, so he was telling me that each of us have a role in our community, and he says that you are an artist, you are a very good pianist, and I think you should go and hone that talent. You go home, tell your dad that my family is going to give you a scholarship to any college of music that you choose. So you become a better musician, not only a better one, because all you need to do is just be the best in what you do. You be an authority in what you do. And if you are the best and you are an authority, you get the respect of your community. And you don't have anything anymore to worry about, because jobs will come looking for you because you're the best. And I said, at 18, I didn't get it right away, but I went home to my dad and told him that the senator's family is giving me a scholarship in the UP, in any college of music of my choice. And then my dad said, this is like 12 in the evening. He opened the gate for me. He says, how old are you now? And I said, I'm 18. And then he said, you're old enough to decide for yourself. So that is when I went back to school, I enrolled at the UP College of Music.
Oh, that's such a beautiful story.
It really is. And he let you decide at 18. It's not like, 18 years old isn't really, something, at least in the Filipino culture, we don't really consider it as
Yeah.
people can make a decision for themselves. Here in the US, maybe, but even in Filipino households, I know people who stay in their parents.
I don't know about that with me.
Way after 18, right?
Yeah.
At 27,
Yeah,
I still consult my parents.
And I'm still figuring it out too. And I'm way older than 18.
All right. You have a question.
Yeah. Again, thank you for the story, Mr. C. What an inspiration you have been to Filipinos, Filipino Americans, and really globally. And so excited for you to be here. But kind of switching gears in terms of your music inspiration, how has that kind of played out in your involvement with GK and your, not only GK being your advocacies, but other advocacies you're a part of? How has your inspiration in music affected your social, your advocacies in social awareness and such as those?
I'm very lucky because in 2007, I decided to put up my own singing group, and they're called the Cayabyab Singers. And right on our first year, we got to be exposed to GK work. And who could say that anyone is more lucky than us? Because within that year, 2007 to 2008. By 2008, we were in LA first time. And it was GK who brought us to LA. And then later on, we even went around, I think from east to west. I remember not only LA, we went to Vallejo, we went to Seattle, we went to Oklahoma, we went to Houston, we went to Raleigh. In North Carolina, we went to Tampa, Florida, and we had concerts in New Jersey too. So it's like we went around the U.S. bringing the banner of GK, and it's like the advocacy for music and the advocacy for GK and yung walang iwanan came together as one. It's like we liked it. We wanted to do this advocacy, And it was a great partnership. As a matter of fact, we also were able to go to GK Australia, GK Singapore, and GK Jakarta. With being just with GK, it's like I think we did Australia twice or three times. I can't remember. But it was under the aegis of GK, and we were helping. It was like all fundraising, or it was all awareness. It was awareness for the program and building relationships. Yeah, that's right. We went to Boston too. That was like eons ago. No, that was
Hindi
2010.
naman. Yeah, 2010. It was 2010. And you're to the Best for the Least tour. So,
Right.
so if you remember, Mr. C was, what Gawad Kalinga, was promoting is offering our best and not lose change or whatever. And that's why, what better way to present that concept than having our maestro, Mr. C, and the Ryan Kevin singers who are, great talents, really the best for the least, for the poor. And, since you mentioned that, Mr. C, and I know Jean has a question. We have a couple more people here who wanted to say hi. Jeff Happy from Oklahoma is saying hi. And then Tita Tess Castro said, because you mentioned LA, you started in LA, you told her now that you are the only Filipino who does not have a piano. She says, I am doing better. I now have a baby grand and an upright. One of the children is 4 and seems to have a fascination for playing the piano and easily glides her fingers and hands on the keys. How do we get started? So yeah, so meron na siyang piano, Mr. C. And then from Maricel, again, Villanueva, she says, thank you, Senator Laurel and Daddy Cayabyab. Nuggets of wisdom talaga. Yes, I'm learning so much, and I'm so, that reminds me, your story about how you started with music and everything reminded me of when we had a conversation with the late Kuya Jergs. He told me about, me and my husband Robbie told us about, some Pagita Pictures days and all of that, like the golden age of Philippine cinema. So that's really a treasure. All right, from Alex Gutierrez, Enteng Evangelista stayed and now lives active in the local music scene. Oh, he says, we saw you and RTS here in Houston, he says. And then, yeah, you also went to GK Canada, Toronto. All right, awesome. Yeah, I know you went to a lot of places. Yeah, I only saw you in Boston, which isn't really part of the Best for the Least, but I helped organize the Tampa one. Unfortunately, I get to organize, I didn't get to go. There you go. Go ahead, Jean.
But this is we have time for one more question, right?
Yeah, of course. We have questions. We have time.
Oh, okay, got it. Just making sure. So my next question is, what advice would you give the youth who are pursuing a career in music?
All right. We never encouraged our children to take up music, but they ended up in music. It's like maybe because the same story again, music surrounds them, it's unbelievable. Well, I think they're even better than us because my daughter, she wasn't supposed to get to music, and she on the time that she was supposed to enroll in Ateneo, she said, I don't like my course. But she enrolled in that course. Can I go to music instead? And we said, what? You have to audition. She auditioned, and she made it. She graduated summa cum laude in music. Oh my God.
Wow.
Wow, nice.
So
that should surprise you, Mr. C.
Good Jean.
It was a
because you said
a
it's like
surprise.
you were like, she graduated, like, of course you would.
No, we were we saw that she enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think and then I will tell you another thing. My son finished his course in Ateneo, and communication arts. After a year, he said, I thought all the while consciously, he didn't want to take music because we talked about music every time we were in the dining table. We talked about music theory, composers, etc. Because Karina was just telling her stories about school, blah, blah, blah. And then we end up, because my wife and I were both from UP College of Music. And as a matter of fact, I might forget, my wife was a student of mine in the UP College of Music.
It must be an interesting love story.
Not too far. I'm only older by 7 years. She's gonna hate me for saying that. but
You got 2 songs out.
Yeah.
So there, my son said he was not gonna take up music. But after 1 year graduating from taking his degree at the Ateneo for Com Arts, he said, I'd like to go to music. I said, why did you have to wait for 5 years before you think that you go to music? Now you're taking up music. Well, guess what? He just finished last May. He gave his recital early June, I think. And he graduated in July. And he was magna cum laude. And I said, oh.
Nice.
Nag-detour.
Family.
Detour pa.
I'm bitter because I'm the only one in the family that does not have any Latin adjunct to my name, to my degree. My wife is cum laude, son is magna, daughter is summa, and me, none. Anyway, so you were saying, I went so far away. Jean, what was your question?
What advice would you give those the youth that are trying to pursue a career in music?
So the operative word is, I saw it in my children, is happiness, enjoying what they were doing. And I said, and it was their studying felt like they weren't studying, they were into it because they loved it. So people who are into music and who want advice, they don't really need any advice if they really enjoy and they love what they're doing, because eventually they'll find that thing that drives them. And you know what drives them basically is they love to do it, and that's what art and music gives to a person who dabbles in it, is they enjoy doing it. Work doesn't feel like work at all. It doesn't feel like work because you only have one. It's like, it's not a goal, but it's feeding yourself that I have to do this, I have to do it this way because I hear it that way. If you're a musician, you hear something and you want to hear it that way, and you won't stop until you get to that. So my advice is, first, you have to be sure that you want to do what you're doing. Anyway, that's also the advice for different kinds of careers. I'm gonna go by the classical way, meaning first, you really have to enjoy it. Second, you have to be the best that you can be. It sounds corny, but if you are the best in what you're doing, I guess I'm gonna go there. You're going to gain respect, and people will see your work ethics, will see how you deal with your work, and they will keep on getting you because they like the way you work, because you're very professional and you're very nice to work with, because they can see that you're enjoying it. So I think that is the basic advice I can tell anyone who gets into music or art, and actually in anything. That's all you need is you enjoy what you're doing and you try to be the best in what you do.
Mr. C, so since you mentioned your children, do you have any concerts, even virtual concerts that you're doing together, especially during this pandemic? Do you play for the public? Is that something you guys do?
As a family, no, not yet. We were not into that because right now, especially when my son was still studying, it was like he doesn't want to be disturbed. So anything that has to do with extra musical activities, mapipilitan lang siya. Ano ba sa English yun? I don't want to twist his arm. But we gained my daughter married last year, so we gained another artist with us, but not a musician. He's a graduate of the UP. He took up theater, and the husband of Krina, he is so artistic. He does very good editing. He does very good cinematography. He does all these things. He's a great choreographer. I mean, here in Manila, he's one of those for theater, for choreography. He's always been hired. Anyway, that's it. I'm sure one of these days, I don't know, maybe.
Well, we'll certainly look forward to that. I would be so excited to watch you and your family, make music together. And you also mentioned that, medyo bitter ka, you're kind of bitter that you did get the Latin honors that your children got. But not only are you a national artist for music, you also received the Ramon Magsaysay Award, right, in 2019. And that naman is given to people who are not only the Philippines. It's the Ramon Magsaysay Award, but the people who are being honored are actually people all over Asia, right? And that year you were the only Filipino, and then the other two, I think, are journalists, but they are not Filipino, right? So with all this, you're being a national artist for music, and this Ramon Magsaysay Award. Did that change your way of creating music or doing your craft? Or is there some kind of pressure at all na kailangan social, like it has to promote social awareness or something like that?
Not at all. As a matter of fact, I continue to be myself. It's like if I'm stripped of any of those, I'm still the same, I still do what I want to do. And I do it because, again, I enjoy doing what I do. So even from the start, I don't know if you heard of the group Smoky Mountain. In the late 80s to the 90s, I had this group of kids, and all their songs are, well, most, not all, most of their songs are tinged with social awareness, ecology, the preservation of this and that, and it's like it's all good for Gawad Kalinga. As a matter of fact, Gawad Kalinga got one song from that album called the title is Paraiso, and used it in a film that Gawad Kalinga produced. So I do a lot of music writing. Now, it's just so happened that the pandemic came, and what I envy is what you guys are experiencing now in America. It feels like you're almost there, normal, and we're actually like worse than 2020 right now, because we have more than 20,000 cases every day because of that Delta variant. So I don't know if that's what we should be talking about, but so it's just a joke. I'm not bitter. I don't care about the Latin award.
We know you are. We know you were. But I thought it was a good segue for me to ask you about the Ramon Magsaysay Award, which incidentally, the founder of Gawad Kalinga was also a recipient of
Right.
Ramon
Tony.
Magsaysay Award back in 2006, I think, for community leadership. So yeah, so that I thought it was a great segue. And the movie that you're talking about is also called, I think, Paraiso, and it's a trilogy. They were, and I'm sharing this to Jean and Everett as well. And for those of you who may not know, I've been with GK since 2003, Mr. C. So I know all of these, ano. Kaya nga, sabi ko nga din, medyo pre-departure na rin yata. Like Tito Tony Naloto would say. But so okay, so those are three stories, Gawad Kalinga stories. Talaga. Like there's a story about Rudy Abad, whose wife died at 9/11, and then the proceeds from the life insurance that he received, he used to build a village to honor his wife. So that's just one of the stories. So those are really, really great. Not only fundraising events, but really raising awareness about what Gawad Kalinga does and what the poor needs, in our country. All right. So Everett, I think you got the next question.
Yeah. So Mr. C, in terms of all the experiences you've had and the changes that the world is experiencing during the pandemic, can you tell us a little bit more about some of the virtual concerts that you've been doing in terms of how to cope and kind of alter in terms of building benefit concerts for fundraisers like Gawad Kalinga?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Everett, last year, a group of us, a writer, another songwriter, an events organizer, head of PR, Philippine business responsible PBSP, I think. And another person who was in touch with a urban poor group. We got together and we put up we did online concerts every night. It was called Bayanihan Musikahan. And we said, my friend and I, Trina Belamide, who is also a composer, when we got into it, we said, gosh, I don't know if we can make 1 million pesos. It's gonna be difficult because, with people, I don't know how we're gonna raise money. But our friend, who's into the social work and giving, he's into this type of activities. He said, "No, let's root for 15 million. That's going to be our goal. We'll do a concert for 2 weekends, and probably we'll root for 15 million." So he said, "What? I don't even think we can raise 1 million pesos between the two of us." I said, but you know what? At the end of 1 month of all these concerts and a big concert, and we had so much sponsors, etc., we raised close to 133 million pesos. In cash would be about 122 million pesos in cash, and the rest in kind. So we were also, it was such an awesome project that it became such a big deal. Even FB joined us and created the space for us, and so many people helped. And there was even one, we were able to get help with a fundraising group here in your place. In America, I said here, but it's there. And they lent us a button, a donation button, because it was so much faster. If you push that button and then you put the money there, you can see it on the screen, and it was like in Lea Salonga's concert, you could see it start. You start with like 20,000, and then you can see people pushing and putting money. At the end of a concert, it was like she was able to raise what, 4, 5 million? I don't remember,
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
That's
it was
awesome.
like
Huge. Yeah.
I know, huge, and it was like only an hour concert, and it was such an effective platform. It was called Bayanihan Musikahan.
Mhm.
Why? Because they could see where the money was going, and it was like the money was being professionally handled by Philippine Business for Social Progress, PBSP, and the head of PBSP was with us, and they were also we also had the samahan ng pamilyang SMPP, samahan ng mga something pamilyang pantawid, no? Pantawid ng pamilya. And they were in charge of distributing we didn't distribute money, we distributed food. It was all food for the poor people. Why? Because people were not, especially those who were working for daily wages, jeepney drivers, cargadores, people who were earning per day, they couldn't go out, so they couldn't earn. So this went to them. This was for the urban poor of Metro Manila. So all that 133 million went to close to I don't know, maybe what I can't really remember, maybe 100,000+ families, that much. And it was not like only for a day, because like they had to give food rations maybe for a week or for within 2 weeks or something like that. It was, and we were and people who were handling the funds, they also bought from the farmers, from the fisher folk who didn't have business. So it was like giving them, it was buying direct from the farmers and the fisher folk and giving it to the poor. It was also Caritas Manila who helped us deliver, because they had the network of the transportation, the vans, and the vans would deliver to the main drop-off points, and then the urban leaders would get it from the drop-off points. They had tricycles waiting, and then they deliver it to their purok or their barangays or something. It was so well organized and it was so well what was the term there? It was very well coordinated, and people knew where their donation was going. I think I must say that it was the corporate industries that gave much of the money, because of course the ordinary Filipinos or the ordinary watcher would be able to give only maybe 1,000 or maybe 500, etc. But the corporate sector, they gave, I think they gave 80% of that 130 million.
Wow.
Wow, that's awesome.
It's really bayanihan, spirit.
Yes.
With everyone that you mentioned that were involved. And Jean has the next question, but let me read some more. we're nearing the hour, but thank you so much, Mr. C, for your spending time with us. It's really an honor for all of us to have you here.
Yes.
Let us see. Okay. Jeff Happy said that you and your are singers. Yeah. So he says, I guess he saw you in Oklahoma, maybe.
Yes.
Jeff Happy. Yeah. So he says you and his singers were awesome. The parishioners at St. John's said that the RCS sang Like Angels.
Wow.
They were really good. Alex Gutierrez says, treasure and use the volume 1 and 2 of your piano music book of your composition, which you signed for me. Thank you. And then I think that's it's from Maricel again, Villanueva. She says they enjoy doing their work and we get to enjoy their work. Aren't we lucky? Then from Tita Tony Pasqua, we are very fortunate to have Mr. C played our piano when the RCS performed at our place to benefit GK. Yeah, some of those concerts were intimate, concerts like, one of our GK advocates would host in their homes, right, Mr. C? So those were really fun and special, precious times. Go ahead, Jean, with your next question, and then we're closing to wrapping up here.
So really loved hearing a lot of the things that you're involved in. When one of them that you're really quite involved in is really promoting original Filipino music, or OPM. So can you tell us a little more about what that is and really how Filipino Americans can really support?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
We were listening to Paraiso to kind of, what is not
I grew up
Paraiso.
with Kailan. I grew up
Kailan,
with,
yeah, that's the one we were listening to just before we started. All right, Mr. C.
Okay, before I'm gonna ask you again, Jean, what your question is, because my STM is shot. But later, I just want to do a shout out to Tony Pasqua and family, and
Tony!
yes, of course,
Yes.
and the GK people in their area.
California.
I think the last time I think the last time we were in the States, maybe 3 years ago, we got to see them, and it was great. I remember because when we had that concert in the house of Tony Pasqua, all the GK volunteers, they had to dress up like white shirts, etc., as waiters, and it was like the food was catered and it was fun. Okay, back to Jean. What was your question again?
Okay.
Okay, if you could tell us a little more about what original Filipino music, or OPM, is, and then really how us as Filipino Americans can really help support.
Yeah. Well, we are the original Filipino music movement. That term actually was born in the 70s, late 70s, and it was first coined by Danny Javier of the Apolinario Hiking Society, Apo group. And now what we say about OPM is that anything music created by Filipinos and released in the Philippines are now called original Filipino music. Whatever they are, whatever genre, rock, country, folk, rap, hip hop, jazz, anything original that you write is called OPM. Why do we need to have a strong OPM? We've been pushing this for such a long time. It's not even just when it was OPM yet, but Filipino music. Why? I will tell you why. Because in most countries, or maybe in all countries, we have a collecting society for royalties, right? So performance royalties society. So if you have ASCAP or BMI in the US, we have PhilSCAP, which is the Filipino Society for Composers, Authors, and Publishers. And every year, of course, you can go to their office and check out the remittances, meaning the businesses, the consumers who use music. And I will tell you that Filipino music has been like they're in the dumps since the 60s and 70s. PhilSCAP has been remitting more than maybe 85% of funds gained from royalties are remitted outside the Philippines. And why? Because we love imported music. The Filipinos, the regular Filipino listeners, they would rather listen to, especially to American music, American top 40. But during the rise of OPM in the 70s, 80s, 90s, that 85% has gone down to still not significant, but for me, it's significant. It's almost like 73 or 74% going out of the country. So what does that mean? That means that the money that is retained for the industry is so small that we really cannot expand. What does that mean too? Which means it discourages composers to keep on writing. It discourages new business groups to put up new companies to write, to produce new music. That is the biggest problem. Can you imagine that if there's much more money going around here in the country for the industry, for the music industry, there'll be more creative stuff. Now, that's why every time somebody says, aren't the Filipinos supposed to be the most musical in Asia? Well, we don't have anything. We can't even hold a candle to K-pop, J-pop, Canto pop, to Bollywood pop. I mean, it's like we're very insignificant. That's why when you say original Filipino music, there's none in the world. I mean, you don't hear that. Why? Because it comes first with not being supported by the Filipinos. The Filipinos are not supporting original Filipino music, and it shows. That's why I showed you. I gave you a more factual picture of the situation about royalties in the Philippines. Much of the music royalties go out of the country. So that being said, what we're trying to do is that's why we're trying to encourage young people just right, because we might not be creating the right timpla. I don't want to be defeatist. I don't want to feel like we have been defeated by our neighbors or by America, etc. It's not anything about that. It's more that maybe we haven't found the right formula for it. That's why we just have to keep on going. All right, that's one prismatic view. There are many other views of how we can probably create better OPM, but this is what I will tell you. Especially in Filipino fiestas abroad, in America, what do they sing? What do they play? They so hunger for Filipino music, Filipino dances, Filipino food. It is you who want to reminisce or go back to it's like E.T. phone home. You want to connect with mother country in terms of music, dance, and food. So it is our job to keep on, us in the Philippines, we need to work harder to create all that music that we can connect with not only Filipinos around the world, but well, that's why we're saying we have to start breaking borders. We've been trying to do that. We need a little more luck, at the same time, a little more support. Actually, yes. a lot of support.
A lot of
We need a lot of and that support will come from people who want to sink in investment to create more music because that's what they did in Korea. That's what they did in Sweden. That's why, like you have music of ABBA. That was in the 70s. And now, because of that, a lot of songwriters are from Sweden. Even the ones that you hear in America, a lot of those are produced by non-Americans. I mean, it's like they have made they have the right formula for it. What is that? They educate. They give chance for those people who want to be creative. They give them a chance. They give them a platform to create by probably giving them funds. Oh, so this is what you're gonna do? Okay, what do you want to do? You want this? Can we hear your music? Okay, I like your music. Here's $1,000. Go ahead and produce it. It's just something like that. Of course, you know the story of Korea, that the government has been very, very supportive. But it's the Korean wave. It started with the industrial wave. You got your electronics, you got your cars, you got your Korean made stuff. And then Korean cinema, Korean drama, which is so big, like in Netflix here in the Philippines, everybody's watching Korean drama. Now, I'm not saying that we should not watch it, because as a matter of fact, we should, because we should learn from them. Why is it good? It's because they got good stories, they got good writers, they got good actors, they got good production design. It's you see, we have to learn all that. It's not only the seed. You need to know how to nurture that seed. You need to know how to put it in a good pot, a good soil. You have to have sunshine. You have to. So we're just the seeds. We need support. We need all these to make it bloom.
Yeah.
Haba ko magkwento, sorry.
No, we're enjoying. I'm sure my co-hosts share the same enjoyment and awe with all of these cuentos, Mr. C. But we can hear.
I grew up with your music, Mr. C.
I did too, like I mentioned earlier. And we hear, speaking of music, we hear background music, on your background. So I think that might be our key to sort of wrap it up. I want to read a couple.
That's my wife. I was about to close my door because she's practicing her mouth.
Yes, it was good.
We love it.
I can hear it.
Just a couple more comments from Ever and Gingon. Thanks for the music and GK mission. Salamat po, Maestro C. And then from Maricel Villanueva, they enjoy doing their work. Sorry. And then from my husband says we should have an OPM concert in the US.
Yes. Oh my God, that would be wonderful.
Wouldn't it? And calling all, I think it should be a bayanihan effort as well, Mr. C, where, not in terms of supporting it, I'm calling all like marketing people, right? Sometimes it's a matter of really knowing how to package it, right? And how to promote it and everything. We can have concerts, featuring original Filipino music. It's just a matter of how we're presenting it to our audience here in the US. So on that note, Mr. C, last question. What are you, busy with nowadays? I stalk you on Instagram. I saw that you're teaching how to create music. You alluded to it. Obviously, you mentioned it earlier as well. Anything else other than that you wanted to share with us that we can support and follow?
Well, actually, you you saw that on Instagram.
Yes.
I have a class. It's called the Creative Music Writing class. Starting in October. It's October 2, and it's gonna be Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays. But it's at 8 to 10 p.m. Manila time, which means East Coast. It's 8 to 10 a.m. And if you stay in the West Coast, that means.
But can people sign up for it from here in the US, or is that?
Yeah. Of course, if you pay in dollars, it's gonna be in pesos. It's cheap. All right, I have two classes. The first class in October, actually, it's songwriting. Very basic music writing, meaning what do you do with lyrics? We're the jump off point will be with lyrics, and then the songwriting, the class two, the creative music writing two, will deal with music that doesn't have lyrics. So all types of other music, how to write that. It's gonna be fun. My problem is my problem like last year is it's like now, when I talk, it's like I don't have breaks. So can you imagine, we had our class last year was supposed to be 8 to 10 o'clock. We ended up at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's like a 6-hour class, and my students are not they're not letting off. They're not saying goodbye. They just they want to hear everything
They
because
want to soak in the knowledge.
well, it's not only knowledge, it's fun because we laugh a lot. It's like when they present their works, it's not like a teacher castigating them. It's more like telling them how to make it better. But there's a lot of laughter, and people, when they're in the chat room, they're joking. It's like I don't know what they're talking about.
It's also very Filipino, right?
Yes.
Yung walang hanggang paalam. You say goodbye like, I don't know, may stations pa yan, right? You say goodbye. You keep going.
Oh, that's very true.
You get to the
Very
door
true.
too, right? So
2 hours to say goodbye.
Now, I'm encouraged to enroll Mr. C, but I'm not a musician like my father.
By the way, Donna, you said OPM concerts. Did you know that when we did our our concerts in 2016, 17, 18, and 19 in the US, we did every year, mostly in the West Coast with the RCS.
Yeah.
We don't do American music. We only do Filipino music.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because our audiences are basically Filipinos, and as I told you, they hunger for music from home, and although we are not we don't alienate the younger people and the foreigners in the audience, it's a very it's more like storytelling, and it's very entertaining basically. So it's not so difficult to do concerts. We've done a lot of it, especially with my group.
Yeah.
I will only tell you my problem right now. It's not a problem, it's a great problem, because right now for a year we haven't really had much work. So some of my members are doing individual work. Like one is in Kumu a lot, and like one is a drama actor in ABS shows. And then one other singer, she auditioned in Hong Kong Disneyland, and she got into it. I said, okay, goodbye. I won't see you. I will see you after 18 months. It's like, but she joins us in virtual concerts, even though if she's there, because anyway, her contract is her physical presence in that area, not necessarily outside, as long as she's not working also in Hong Kong.
Right.
I think that is her contract. So, and then one of my other girls, she was a graduate of speech therapy. So she did a YouTube vlog, and she did so many episodes about how to teach young children. If you're a parent and your kid is having a difficult time communicating or is not talking at 3 years, then she gives free lessons on encouraging children how to start talking or how to start expressing themselves. It's like all of them are doing something. And then one of my kids, I'm talking about one of the members of RCS, I think is in the finals of Tawag ng Tanghalan. I don't know if you guys are watching.
Showtime.
Showtime. So if you're gonna support anyone, well, I'm gonna ask you to support Anthony Castillo. He's one of my singers. So, and then I don't know, one of my other singers, Paul Pert, he's been doing acting in ABS dramas, and he also got into like The Voice PH about 3 years ago. I mean, they've been doing all these things.
They've been busy.
Actually, yes, Donna, actually, that's why I'm encouraging, that's why they like staying with the group, is because they can do other things on their own as individual artists. I don't want them to be stifled into just being part of the RCS.
Right.
But what's great is when they get together, they bring all these other expertise they have. So you got a brilliant, active, energetic group who have so many different talents. Anyway.
Mr. C. So, okay, sorry. I know I said that was the last question. I lied. Would you welcome a collaboration with, let's say, we have artists like in Hollywood who are Filipino, right? Like Olivia Rodrigo is one of them. The sikat na sikat ngayon, very popular now. I also had the chance to interview the Philharmonic. I don't know if you've heard of them, Mr. C. I interviewed for another show.
Sorry, Donna, before I forget. Yes, we were together in LA, I don't know, maybe 2-3 years ago. And we all met them, and the RCS and the Philharmonic were there. It was fun. Okay.
Yeah. So would you be open to them like singing OPM music, artists in Hollywood who might be interested or who might want to get on board and sing original Filipino music, maybe some of your compositions?
Of course. That would be great because it will be a way for original Filipino music to get into your community first, and then their community outside their bubble community. There's so many other small communities that they would belong to, and perhaps a bigger community in Hollywood. I don't know. That would be great.
Wouldn't it? I think this is a perfect time because I think the Filipino, as a culture and Filipino people are gaining more recognition, right? I know, Jean and Everett are also part of other, as organizations that are promoting the Filipino culture and heritage. So this might be I'm forever optimistic. Bakit naman hindi, di ba? Why not? All right. So, Mr. C, thank you so much. We hope that we can have you again, maybe for a virtual concert for Gawad Kalinga.
Yes.
Baka naman maisingit mo kami sa schedule mo. I'm not putting you on. I leave that up to the executive director Maricel and everyone behind GK USA to hopefully make it work. So that is it. And
thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Such an honor.
And thank you, Jean and Everett, for joining us this evening, for being my co-host. It has been a pleasure. And
thank you for having us.
Mr. C, thank you so much. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Take care.